I feel uncomfortable and I feel sorry for our opposition leaders who would think that when they go to court in black suits, they put on a black sellotape on their mouth and they get placards they are lifting, a pocket of them. They think that President Hichilema can be moved. A man that is determined to disobey the constitution of the land cannot be surely be removed by such kind of acts. A man that is determined to break the law, to go against the judgment of the court, cannot be moved by that behavior of going to stand with throat upon your mouth and you are talking to the media. Those kind of politics cannot work in the circumstance that we are in today. People are supposed to be...
Watch the entire video, my lovely viewers, I mean from start to finish, to get the whole thing. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Hi lovely viewers, it's me again, your one and only Mutati Mpundu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button down below. Turn the bell icon to join the notification squad. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you lovely viewers.
And welcome to Headlines with Hardliners podcast. We are back again with exciting stories. I'm sure you are aware we bring you exciting questions, of which the hardliner is always here to answer those hard punches. Of course, we are not wasting much of the time. You know who the hardliner is. Mr. Princeton, welcome to the program once again.
Thanks very much. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, so today we are looking at, I don't want to talk much about the introduction so that people would, stay tuned and glued. Yeah, so today we are looking at three interesting topics of which a lot of people are in limbo about, and they've been dying to hear answers from one of the Patriotic Front member. Yeah, so the question, let's just dive into the question. We don't have much time because a lot of people say an hour is not enough. Hey, you don't let the man explain himself. Hey, blah, 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 blah. But come on, we've got only an hour to do this program. Okay, so the question is, the opposition Patriotic Front seems to be bowing out of seats in parliament. And they are citing that the ruling party wants to gain mass, and they are dominating the seats. How do you tackle this occurrence?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to observe a moment of silence for the death of our mother, the wife to Honorable Chilangwa, who is still incarcerated in our state penitentiary, which is Mukobeko. Thank you very much. That's a very interesting question to respond to. And I believe that I'll be able to answer according to what is expected of me. It is very true that the Patriotic Front, which is the biggest opposition party in Zambia, is buying out of its seats in parliament. This is because we happen to have a president in this country who has no regards for the rule of law, who is determined to maintain power by all means. It doesn't matter what the law says, he's just determined to win the seats. But one thing that I would like first of all to say is that sometimes when people reject someone for a very long time, sometimes there are things that we cannot see, that God himself maybe would see. But what I find funny about the current situation that we're dealing with is that a lot of things that are going on in the country, lawlessness, the injury on democracy, freedom of expression and all being stamped on. These are things that Zambian people feared would be under threat if President Hichilema was voted into power. That's why for 15 years he was struggling to make it to State House and he lost. The opposition party then, the UPND, existed in opposition for 23 years, 23 of which 15 years were part of President Hichilema trying to become president. everything that people feared, President Hichilema has made people realize that those of us that were opposed that can never be a leader that will observe the rule of law, we have indicated. And those that thought we just hated the man have come to realize that the man was incapable. The man was not able to preside over that office. The office is way too big comparing to what he could be able to offer. And we cannot say much about what he has offered so far. It is what he can do. And all we can do is wait to remove him from power. The seats that have been lost to the ruling party, in instance, shouldn't have even been lost to the ruling party. We start from Kwacha and the Kavushi. These are the seats that the UPND first grabbed against the laid-down procedure and against the law, against the ruling of the Supreme Court. But because President Hichilema has no regard for the rule of law, he had to ensure that by all means he got those seats. What he has done openly, and everyone is able to tell, is that he has destroyed the separation of power. There no longer exists a separation of power. He has destroyed the rule of law. He can no longer understand even what the rule of law is. Because in this country, the constitution that he swore to observe, defend, and protect has not mandated any person to be above it. All citizens, including him as citizen number one, is below that constitution. So, when you look through, you are able to tell President Hichilema and his government are predictable. These are people that don't really think through their schemes. They just break the law with impunity. That is all. There's nothing smart about them on how they want to hold on to power. There is just abuse of power and the criminality. The case I can look at now, right now as we are talking, first of all, is for Munia Zulu and Maureen Mabonga. Okay. You see, there is a difference. If somebody tells you that you are a fool, it's not the same as asking you, are you a fool? If somebody asks you, are you a fool? You simply just say, no, you are not. It's the same thing when you look at the case of Munia Zulu and Maureen Mabonga. These are people who were aggrieved after what was going on to Honorable JJ, another independent member of parliament whose seat has been grabbed by, whose seat was under threat by the regime. God was merciful to that seat. PF managed to maintain that seat through the Tonse Alliance political party, NCP. So that meeting, that press conference that they had, those two individuals were expressing anger and dissatisfaction over the manner in which the UPND government was treating certain people when it comes to observing the rule of law. The UPND has always arrested people that are from the opposition on matters that are spontaneous acts, are acts that are triggered by immediate situations that you cannot plan. That should be the role of the state in guiding this government. So when somebody says, why are you segregating people? Why are you punishing a certain group of people and you're not punishing the other because they belong to the ruling party? Do you really want us to start moving with guns? Do you really want us to start behaving in the manner that they are behaving? If you look at the country's position, do you think if we are to take such steps, do you think we can be outnumbered? Those were questions, and they were vital questions. But somebody had to go to police and say, these people were indirectly inciting people to rise against tribes. Yet, we have a sitting president who has been threatening violence openly without caution from the state. Because when a president misbehaves or acts outside character or acts in a manner that is wholly unanticipated from his office, you expect the following day or the other him to come to the camera and show remorse and apologize. Then you know that the state prevailed on him. If his arrogance goes to the extent that he can't be cautioned by the state, which is mandated, whose people gets paid to ensure that the presidency operates within the mandate it has been given by the constitution and the Zambian people, then there is a problem. Because at the end of the day, if a president is going to be on TV and say, apamanje tizachinja mingalato, tuzambo chita ukapitira huku twafyanta pamukosi, threatening violence that was going to be to embark on strangling people by the neck. He threatened violence. He goes to Southern Province. He goes and says, the reason why you people were not given fertilizer is because of who you are. That is inciting people of Southern Province to rise against the other people. So these people were ruling. They were not doing the right thing here because we are different. He threatened violence. He proceeded to go and get a tribal statement in Southern Province. Beyond that, he cited openly, in camera and videos are there, where he said, instead of saying people don't like me anymore because I lied too much, I promised things that I knew I was incapable of doing, he went to Southern Province and said, people do not like me because of my tribe. That was tribalism in my way of understanding. But all this, you can see that it is a president that was heading. After he said we will be touching the throat, we saw alleged abduction. And the people that were cited, alleged to have abducted JJ, where some of them were alleged to have come from his office. So you are able to tell that his mouth that he used to threaten violence, it's more like you are leading by example. If it truly that abduction was done and the people that were alleged to have done so did so, I would still say they were guided by their president. Now, this is a person that is watching the people that were asking questions why other people are not being punished for the same thing. A cadre from Northwestern threatened to have the president of Zambia, the former president of Zambia, President Edgar Lungu, that he should be circumcised, that they should come and lift him by the neck and take him where they can circumcise him. That was a very dangerous statement. Threat to the president's life, former president's life. That cadre has never been caught by police. Yet our people have been caught, have been arrested, have been tried, and have been jailed with their seats declared vacant. There are too many people who are facing the charge of sedition, who were arrested way before Maureen Mabonga and Munia Zulu. There are a lot of people who are in court today for the charge of sedition and other things that were alleged for those two individuals. But because they are MPs and because seats are needed, the regime has to behave in a manner that they are behaving. I've always said the behavior of individuals in government doesn't matter much, but the behavior of government matters most. The idea is that the UPND wants to have a lot of seats in parliament. When they have a lot of seats in parliament, they are thinking in their figment of imagination that that will help them usurp the powers of the constitution and have it amended wrongly to give them a hold on power. That's not going to happen. That is their thinking and that's their dream. But we have a situation also that when we look at our own opposition political parties, to a greater extent, they are giving away these seats without putting up a proper fight to ensure that in the ballot they win. They can put up a fight to ensure that they put up very serious and vigorous campaigns against those people that are standing in the constituencies where our people have been disadvantaged. I happen to have operated in Kawambwa. I was in Kawambwa when just after the filing of nominations. And I can tell you here that we put up proper strategies. We did not go to the media to waste time. We went down to the people. We got on bikers. We got on bikes and we got down to the people, to the headman and to every common person. We went on the ground for a reason and we beat UPND in that constituency, in that by-election that was in Kawambwa. That very day when the voting was being done, it started raining around 05. It started around 11. Despite the apathy necessitated by the rains on that day, if you look at the votes and what was done, it was clear that UPND is gone. But because they are using the power that they have been given wrongly, when we were in Kawambwa, I can vouch for the local police. When we were in Kawambwa, the police were very professional. They ensured that we were safe. That was before the police that they have structured and put in place arrived, because the UPND have come up with a police force that they sent to these by-elections with a team of cadres. When we were there, every time there was a rumor that UPND were planning to attack our people, we would engage the police, and the police would drive in our territory armed, and they would ask, we are told that these people want to come and disturb you. We just want to check if you are okay. We don't want any violence in this particular area and in this particular by-election. Things changed 3 days when the cadres and the thugs arrived, and those police that they have psyched in a certain way arrived.
Okay.
So the only reason why we are having such a situation is that the UPND wants to have more numbers in parliament, which they are going to have. Time is against them, but they are still determined to do that. To a greater extent, we expect our opposition leaders to be more strategical and more tactical on how they are going to face this government. I feel uncomfortable and I feel sorry for our opposition leaders who would think that when they go to court in black suits, they put on a black sellotape on their mouth and they get placards they are lifting, a pocket of them. They think that President Ichilema can be moved. A man that is determined to disobey the constitution of the land cannot be surely be removed by such kind of acts. A man that is determined to break the law, to go against the judgment of the court, cannot be moved by that behavior of going to stand with throat upon your mouth and you are talking to the media. Those kind of politics cannot work in the circumstance that we are in today. People are supposed to be on the ground. People are supposed to put resources in this fight to win this battle against the man that has decided to misbehave with the powers that has been given. Because he himself, as a president, knows that when he was in opposition, there are certain things he told the Zambian people that he will not do. That the opposition now was being alleged to have been doing. The president of this country today was claiming that the Patriotic Front attempted to assassinate him in one of the by-elections, that he was running battles, was dodging bullets the whole day in the bush. These are the things that President Ichilema used to say. When you go back to...
Isn't that true?
Well, in politics, I tell people that in politics, you don't believe anything until it has been officially denied. The fact of the matter is, even if there was some level of truth, are you telling me that 50 police officers armed with AK-47 can miss the head of one individual? I don't think so. So those were games and schemes to propel himself to presidency by appealing to people's sympathy. And he succeeded. Okay? He succeeded to get people believe that the opposition now, when they were in power, wanted to kill him. So the people believed and felt, I think, why are they trying to do this to this man? Let us give him the mandate so that we see what is going to happen to him. That same situation that happened at court, where people went there with placards at the courts, with the black sellotape on their mouth and the black suits, a group of them. Some of them retired people they should be retiring. It happened at some point at the High Court, where UPND invaded those premises, and they were chanting slogans of their political party, and they were insulting everybody. If you pay attention, there are stones that are being thrown at the Supreme Court building, and the police were running battles, the UPND. That was not the case at this court yesterday, when the people went there to listen to Mawonga's case the other day. People were just holding placards and they were talking. But the police from nowhere went to them as if they were unruly. That was to try and provoke them. How do you go to people who are lifting placards? That is constitutional. Picketing is constitutional. So when you see a president allowing such things to happen, you should know, you should be able to picture where you are going. And if you must stand up and challenge that person and put up a robust fight to ensure that come 2026, you will not escape the defeat in the ballot, you have to do more. That's what I can say. I have seen politicians strategize and think. Okay. I have sat on the tables of strategic meetings where you don't even sleep 24 hours, you're just having coffee. I have been in meetings with the Honorable Comrade KBF where we are planning for the elections. You can't even remember when you slept. But what I have seen is a kind of laissez-faire in this kind of opposition that we have. There's a lot of jokes. We have a lot of jokers that are trying to take advantage of the silence of the people in order to be heard. But they are not doing what people expect them to do. If you sit with them and you ask them why they are not doing what is expected, you have 1 year to go. Yeah, they will tell you that we do not have resources. But I have seen people who believe that change must happen spend money, their own-end money, in these elections that we have been having in this country. I happened at some point to have been a right-hand man to Honorable GBM. I saw how the man supported the Patriotic Front, where you are going to the bank to withdraw money from the bank, not money dubiously given. No. This is a man that will say, he will write maybe 3 checks. Go to the bank and withdraw this money. We've got political programs to undertake, so go and withdraw this money. I would carry in excess of 1.5 million from the bank on the counter, written GBM meeting, signed. Okay? Today, the politicians we have do not have legit money that they can do as the money did. So they will go around pretending, no, we don't have the money, we are being suppressed. When you are determined to change the course of history, you do not have the resources. At least you must, first of all, put up your ideas, your strategies, and your tactics that you think can work. If not, you can still put up resources by selling some of the properties that you have. Okay. Almost all those politicians, you cannot tell me that all those politicians...
They leave their families languishing.
Exactly. The fact of the matter is that when you are determined and you are sure of the cause, you do not really care about what happens. That's why you find people who say, okay, me, I want to stand as a member of parliament. I'm going to sell the house and sell the car. Why? They have believed in that which they hold dear to their heart. So these opposition that we have are gathering themselves in order that they can take advantage of one man's influence, who is the former president. Otherwise, the substance from them, when I sit down to watch them, put on black and put sellotape on their mouth, and they begin to scream, what is happening today? What is going on? The police are getting the placards from them nicely, without violence, and they are surrendering them. And then from there, they go to make statements. No, that's not how we beat MMD. That is not how you beat a ruthless government. You have to be determined, and you have to show cause for the Zambian people to say, okay, we are going to flow with this group of people in what they are doing. But for now, I can see a lot of jokers regrouping, and I don't think that we are being serious. I hope that something comes up. We do so much that we ensure that despite this government wanting to have a lot of seats in parliament, we will ensure that we can tell them in a way through our interactions with the people. If the man doesn't want you to have a rally, he doesn't want you to do anything, go under. We use the strategy that we call termite strategy. Ububenshi. Buleingira panshi panganda, bwali enganda panshi. Mule ikala pamuru. Ngayaisa apona mukumu. Those are the strategies we use. People must be strategical in their thinking and very tactical in their operations. And the time is now. We do not have much time. So yes, we are bowing out of seats, not because we should, it is because the government in place wants to attain power and maintain it by all criminal means, and they have no regard for the law.
Wow, thank you very much for that answer. So another question, Zambia currently has 156 constituencies across the 10 provinces. And our population predominantly are youths. Yet we do not behold who would be the next MPs positioning themselves or indulgence of communities. Does this entail that the opposition is in quagmire or is scared of aspiring in the fear of being penalized by the ruling government?
We have a lot of jokers in opposition today. I say that boldly without any fear or favor. You see, 156 constituencies across the country, most of them are rural, meaning that it will take time to go there and win the hearts of the people. What I'm seeing today, I have not seen before from a group of people that are determined to change the course of history. I'll still go back and tell you, so I've seen people plan. In 2011, prior to 2011, PF sat the strategic individuals and the tacticians that the party has ever had would sit. Why are we losing power? Why are we losing these elections in one particular area? We have not been putting our candidates in certain people. The team agreed, let's float candidates across the country in all the constituencies. These will monitor the elections. That's how Kamsata won the elections, while it's the places, the constituencies where he used to lose elections, were voting when he was declared winner. Because people were thinking, people put their resources on the table. The 156 constituencies, who are these candidates? Yes. Let's find them. Those who have the money, let them go in. Those who do not have, but they are capable of winning the elections, let us fund them. And the men funded. One thing again that I'll tell you is that when you have a political party that is locally funded, you are likely to be a political party that you observe that our sovereignty is not disturbed. That is what has always happened to Patriotic Front. Patriotic Front largely was funded by local businessmen that would only ensure that Mr. Sata's dreams and activities were achieved. Currently, if you look at the people that are aspiring, when you look at the MPs that we have, when they just hear that there is somebody who has gone in their constituency trying to aspire, the behavior of these MPs is very childish. I can say that anywhere, and you can quote me anywhere. Mr. Sata, what Mr. Sata would do, every time elections are lost or won, he would say, okay, this election has been won. He's the one that is, PF is the one holding that seat. Mr. Sata will tell someone, come here, go in that constituency and start campaigning. You are just coming from an election and you have won, for instance. And then Mr. Sata sends someone else to start campaigning in your constituency. And when you go to him to say, no, there's somebody who has started campaigning in my, you say, that is not your constituency. Anyone has got the power, the right to go and vie to stand, because you have one mandate, 5 years. By this time, we should have identified 156 candidates. If those we are maintaining, we should be giving them people to help them campaign while it's concentrating on the important national issues. Have you done that? That's what I'm saying. When I look at the opposition today, you see, we have all these alliances that are forming. The alliances that are forming are good, but are forming with people that have a predetermined mind to be presidents of that alliance, such that ideas that are necessary, that are meant to ensure that this government goes in 2026 are not being tabled. Because I know that I come from a rural constituency in Northern Province. I can tell you that there is no one that is going in those constituencies vying to stand. But the time is not with us. Until we as opposition begin to look at politics for what it is, and in Africa, because there are many ways of beating UPND in 2026. If you have majority MPs who are from the opposition forming 2/3 in parliament, and President Ichilema does his mingalato at presidential level, he will not exist there because they will impeach him. You understand? So I know that there are a lot of people that are aspiring, but I've not seen the drive I saw prior to 2011, where individual MPs were identified by the party and were empowered to enter communities and begin to campaign. I have not yet seen that. I am a person that believes in traveling by myself on my own account, on my own cost. I will just jump on a bus. I'm going to Chirilabombwe. I'll go to Chirilabombwe. From there, I'll drop in other towns and come back and sit, because I love to be powerful. I love to be well informed. So I can tell you that I have done that and I'm still doing it. I'm getting contact. I was privileged to have worked with Honorable GBM. I went across the country. I traversed the grid and breadth of this country. I have got contacts everywhere because my role was central to his politics. So I did quite a lot. I only hope and pray that there will be individuals more like GBM that will come forth to help this political party to try and resuscitate itself and be able to identify youths and other people and empower them to go out there and do exploits for the communities. That is what is expected. But for now, I can agree with that question that you're asking, that I don't see such activity. This is Munali. How many people that do you see around Munali campaigning? You tell me, no one. This is not campaign time, but there is a way people behave when they are trying to vie for seats. They can attend funerals, they can attend church programs, they can take certain services to the people, they can do certain things for the markets. We are not seeing all this because people are timid. If you are going to have a team of people that are timid, attempting to take out a man that is determined to break the constitution, to destroy, to usurp the constitution and maintain power, then you have a problem. I have one thing that I appreciate President Hichilema for.
Oh, what is that?
President Hichilema did not become president so easily. There are certain things that he did as an individual that were very, very concerning. But he did them because he believed his destiny. President Hichilema was very courageous.
True.
In opposition.
True.
He is one man that went into police custody, I don't know how many times. He's one man that would be called to the police and he would go. We have people today vying to be president of this country. The story they don't want to hear is the message of being in police custody. And then you are trying to take over power from a man that went as far as Mukobeko prison. The man comes from Mukobeko prison, he still doesn't regard the law.
It's getting cold. How do you even, people are scared.
That's why I'm saying.
You can't be in there.
That's why I'm saying, when you are timid, when the kitchen is hot, get out of the kitchen. Let people that can stand the heat stand in front. Today, believe you me, we need a man that can do 10 times what Hichilema did from these people that we have. Because the only person we have on the other side who can easily beat Hichilema without even going out to campaign, but just appearing and say, I am going, is President Lungu. Okay? Any other person without the support of President Lungu, without President Lungu, would not have the capacity to fight Hichilema through social media, through TV program, through interviews. How many interviews as a PF MPs have had for 4 years now? They have had a lot of meetings discussing the wrongs that are being done by UPND for 4 years.
Yeah,
and they have
true.
been giving objective analysis. That is all useless if they cannot read the kind of a man that they are facing. They can't. They have to read the man they are facing. They have to go to the round table and begin to think and begin to strategize and stop talking. That cannot move President Hichilema. How many press conferences have we had? How many radio and TV programs the PF?
Isn't that putting yourselves, you're being disadvantaged? So what assurance are you giving the people of Zambia to say, yes, you bounce back despite the challenges you are facing right now?
That is why I'm punching straight into their faces, because I expect them to do more if they are going to talk like that. But because they know that there's one man that is favored to change the course of history again, President Lungu, they are trying just to appear, just to be seen that, oh, they are doing something. You understand? I do not think that should be the way to go. People must do more to support the people who are suffering. Changing the course of history, beating President Hichilema in 2026 is a service to the Zambian people that are struggling and that are suffering. People are suffering in the communities there. People have been subjected to the worst suffering since independence in this country, because we elected a man that put up a group of square pegs in round holes, misfits, to try and run government. He sent 400...
What do you mean by that?
Square pegs in round holes.
Yes.
Simply means misfit. So when you get a square peg, you put in a round hole, it can't fit. So they are misfits. He himself came in as a man who was going to appoint people on a meritorious ground and all those claims that he was talking about. But he came in and appointed people that cannot function. I don't know who in his cabinet is capable of sitting down, looking into his face and say, Mr. President, we are going astray. Mr. President, this is wrong, Mr. President, this is against the law. I don't think there is one. So he comes in, he sends 400 people who were competent and well trained by government. Government spent money to train the people that he has sent home. They are competent civil servants, senior civil servants. He sent them home to create 400 employment for his cadres, which he has done. Where have they taken us? Nowhere. Some of those people that they were accused to have been biased towards PF as civil servants were not even recruited under PF. These are people who have served the country 30 years before PF formed government. But what did the man do? He went and sent them home. And he brought people who are incompetent, who are less experienced, but have got papers that they can't defend through their competence.
Are you saying he's a dictator?
Any person that goes against the law and wants to do things against what is stipulated in the law is a dictator, because the law itself dictates what's supposed to be done. When the law says every person, every government, and every individual is bound by the laws that we have agreed to govern ourselves by. Anyone that operates outside that is a dictator. Now, being a dictator is one thing, but most dictators are loved. I can tell you that most dictators in the world are loved. I'll give you an example. Do you think Burkina Faso has a democratic president? You see, when you look at how he ascended to power, Ibrahim Traore, the great son of Africa, he came through that rule as a military man through a coup.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Today, what he's doing is dictating. Are you telling me that the people of Burkina Faso hate him?
No, they don't.
They love him. Most dictators are loved because they come on the scene to change what has gone wrong, to step in and change things for the good of the people. So most dictators, when they are dictating, you find that majority of citizens will love them. But when you are trying to be a dictator and your population don't desire you to be there, because what you are doing is suffocating their livelihood, your being a dictator is useless as a person. I don't think I would like to be a dictator that is hated by everyone, and I have to survive by suppressing the law, suppressing the rights of citizens. I don't think I would like to be that dictator. I would like to be that dictator where when I step out, people are running after me, are running a mile. I take one step, they are running a mile, and they're chanting, wanting me to stay. If I say, the next election, I intend to not to contest, people must say, we want you to continue. Now tell President Akande to go on TV and say, 2026, I hereby feel like I'm not going to contest. See the jubilation that will happen. They will tell you there is no strong opposition. Let them allow President Lungu to walk, to just say, okay, I'm going to visit constituencies that are in Lusaka. And it is announced President Lungu is going to visit the constituencies in Lusaka. Lusaka will be on standstill. And that is not what they want you to see. What they want is to go and do every underhand method they can do to ensure that they get power by means that are not constitutional, by suppressing the people. That will not happen. UPND is a bunch of people that lack political history of this country. That cannot happen and do not take them anywhere.
Okay. Load shedding appears to be exacerbating in some parts of the areas across the country. Is there hope of restoring power outage in Zambia, or we need to brace ourselves for a nosedive?
First of all, government itself should be able to be the one to give the hope, whether there is hope to have that achieved or not. The suffering that the Zambian people are going through because of load shedding is very concerning. It's something that, honestly, if government cared for these people that are in this country, or if President Hichilema cared for this country and loved this country, a lot of things would be different. We are with a man that doesn't care about the Zambian people and doesn't care about the country at all. He has no single care for the country of Zambia.
What makes you say that?
Some of the things that he has done so far suggests that. President HH has traveled more than any president in this country who has been there before him. In most trips that he made, he came with nothing. 4 years down the line. Today, he's telling you and me that he needs 12 billion to put up solar plants in order to reduce load shedding. The way he quotes figures, you would wonder the kind of an economist that he is. If you ask yourself, what is the GDP of Zambia? What is the budget of Zambia? For the president to go on TV and say we need 12 billion to put up solar plants, that tells you that what their proposals are impossible. First of all, they tell you that they want to bring a water from Luapula to Kariba or to Zambezi so that they can reduce load shedding. Why not put up solar plants in Luapula? PF tried to do that, and they did a lot of that. It's because they want to fool those that are massaged easily by rhetorics. And they have managed to get out with rhetorics. Funny enough, President Ichilema said a lot of rhetorics when he was in opposition. He managed to get power. He has power for 4 years. He has people that are able to praise his rhetorics. I have a problem when you are the leader who enjoys praises, because praises are easy. You don't need to think. You understand? When you're praising someone, you don't need to think. This is why he chose a group of people to work with him. Those that do not want to use their brains to help him run the country better. He gathered people who wants to praise him, who can go to the social media and say, we have done 90% of the promises.
What makes you think they praise him and they do not advise him?
It's very clear. When you see someone from State House, State House has been reduced. Governance in Zambia has been made very cheap and very, very useless. I can say that.
How so? Because
when you see someone coming from State House to face the camera to talk to the Zambian people, you expect, number one, hope. You expect them to address the issues that the citizens of Zambia are raising concerning the cost of living, concerning the load shedding, concerning so many things, even the rule of law, democracy and all. That's what you expect from a government person. But today when you see a person from State House come to camera, is to issue threats that cannot be sustained, that cannot even make sense. Why? Because that is what they think their leader feels comfortable with. If they say President HH has achieved 90% of what he promised, it makes Mr. Ichilema's ego relax and feels comfortable in it. But at the end of the day, what is the truth? The truth is the president has failed to deliver what he promised. I am yet to find one promise that he has fulfilled. I am yet to find one. And I want one person to tell me that this is the promise that he made.
Deployment of civil servants.
That is a government program. The government that was there before, the Patriotic Front government, built schools and hospitals. Are you telling me you are this gullible to believe that when the Patriotic Fronts were doing that, they didn't have intention of recruiting people? They had. That's why they went into building schools so that they can reduce teacher-pupil ratio. They did that for that very reason. So the UPND came into power and found the schools built. So they needed to fill those. You can't give them credit for that. You need to give them credit for the jobs they would have created after coming up with industries, and they recruit people. And we say this industry started in the first year of President Ichilema's tenure. After 3 years, it was able to recruit so much number of people from the street. Now, when you say they recruited nurses and you want to give them credit for that, no, we are not that stupid. At least we are functional heads. What we wanted to see, or what we would have loved to see, that the government is being run by an economist, is to go and borrow money that they borrowed and come up with industries and create employment. Come up with industries to do solar panels, solar plants, generation of electricity and create employment. So that, okay, you know what? We created the employment by this energy sector we embarked on. Maybe we did the solar plants. We created so much employment. We went to hydropower. We took these machines to Luapula, to these forces, and we did this. By the waterfalls that we have in the country, anything you are going to find there that is generating electricity, Patriotic Front did it. So there is nothing that they are going to point. There is nothing that they can face the camera and say, we have achieved ABCD on the promises that we made. But these are people who want us to gather and begin to put ink together and print and say, this is what we have achieved. No, leadership and presidency goes beyond that. When you hear that a president is coming on TV, you must be hopeful when you sit you must be able to listen to what has affected you as an individual being addressed by a president. Because you expect a president to be well informed when he's facing the people. But you have a president that comes and faces the people and have a press conference for 5 hours. Breaking the history, I don't know of a press conference in Zambia in my whole life as a citizen done by the president that lasted 2 hours. President Hichilema beat that record. He had a 5-hour press conference. Majority of the time in that 5 hours, he was threatening citizens. He was running commentaries on matters that are before the law. That is wholly unanticipated from a sitting president who is citizen number one.
Can you cite one of those?
He went on TV and said that he talked about the cases of Bowman and the other people that were in court at that time. He talked about such cases. He ran comments. Even went on to say, we are going to make sure that when we come up with this new court, cases will be taking 6 months. How do you, as a president, determine how long the case is going to take when you have ably appointed a chief justice that should be competent? Sometimes you even wonder what the role of the chief justice is, because at the end of the day, the things that are going in this country to a team that sent us into opposition. So when I say President Hichilema cannot win the next elections, I'm speaking from a strong standpoint, knowing that I have experience in how politics is done, how elections are won, and how elections are lost. Let me tell you something. When you are in government as a ruling party, there are things that should be indicators to you to see whether you are scoring or not. Okay? There are eyes and ears that must see and ears that must hear what is on the ground to feed the president. Okay? And then every time a president comes to talk, when he talks, you should be able to say, okay, he's been well informed here. Okay? But when President Hichilema faces the camera, he talks ignorantly, like he has no idea of what is going on. Previously, his fellow presidents who were in that office, you could tell that when they go quiet for 3-4 days, when they come out to speak, they will address the people according to what they are seeing and they're hearing on the ground. I'll give you one example. Levi Patrick Mwanawasa stopped cadarism, not by sending police officers to curtail cadres in the opposition. No. He stopped cadarism by stopping hooliganism and thuggery in his own political party in the MMD. He banned going to the airport to receive him by cadres. And he told them, this behavior, if you are caught, you are not with me, you are on your own. That is a president that is well informed. That is a president that loves his country. President Lungu many times came on TV and said, cadres are misbehaving. I'm asking the Home Affairs Minister to deal with the cadres, to ensure that cadarism is not there. President Lungu, in many instances, he came out and said, let's stop fighting one another. In my whole life, watching UPND and watching President Hichilema as the helm of UPND, I have never heard him speak against violence in his cadre, among his cadres. I have not heard that. If he has ever said that, please, you have my number. You can look for that statement where he denounced that and send it to me. The only time that we talk about cadres is when he was denouncing the cadreism in PF when he was in opposition. But he never talked about cadreism that was perpetrated by his own people. PF has lost people in this country when it was in power at the hands of the UPND cadres. Even now, PF has lost people. Kungo was murdered on the election day. The chief executive of the party in Northwestern Province was murdered. During their term as them being in power, a PF council chairperson of Mwense was murdered and his seats cut. A number of people that died. Mutati was murdered in Kanyama and he was buried the time that we were in in opposition, I can't be very precise, it was our PF cadre. A number of people died. When President Hichilema and his cadres are talking about the people that died due to political violence, he doesn't talk about those people. He has 4 names that he cites. But we have lost people in this country beyond the 5 that he talks about in similar circumstances.
So you're telling me there is still Kadarism in this country?
There is still, and today it's worse.
Compared to
Patriotic Front. I don't like to call it Kadarism though. Hooliganism and thuggery. Do you recall at any point when a cadre threatened to murder a former president and have him circumcised?
I do.
You remember? I know. Previously, do you know any former president apart from President Lungu that was threatened with murder or circumcision?
No.
Yes. So that tells you the level of Kadarism. Tell me in the history of this country that there has been any alleged abduction of a member of parliament before the UPN formed government. One MP that you can say was abducted and disappeared from the scene, and it is alleged that is a political abduction. Have you ever seen anything like that? I don't think so. Now, the Kadarism that is happening is that it is in both ways, or the hooliganism. It is being perpetrated by people being backed by police. I was in Kawambwa, I saw what happened. Me and my comrade Celestine Mukandira, we were rounded up in Kawambwa by 6 Toyota Hiluxes, loaded by fully armed to the teeth cadres from the ruling party in UPND Rigaria. They surrounded our car. We sat in that car. We were waiting for them to take the step that they were going to take. In the end, they realized that we were unmoved. We are looking at them. What did they do? They said, no, it's not. Jinti Senga was in the car as well. He said, no, this is Jinti Senga, the friend. We are going out to your camp to go and beat up your people. So they drove after surrounding us. They did nothing. Because we sat, we were looking at them. Wanted them to do the worst. Because at the end of the day, we have the constitution in this country and we have the police that's supposed to protect everyone. So when they realized that we had moved, we were just watching them, they drove to say, we are going to beat your people. And we alerted the police, who were on hand. Within a short period of time, the police began to follow them behind until they went separate ways. So I have witnessed violence myself under UPND. I witnessed violence in PF, and I've witnessed violence under UPND. I've not witnessed the violence I've witnessed in UPND compared to the time that PF was in power. I'll give you one example. Prior to the elections, my brother Kalimanshi and team were arrested and sent to prison. A lone demonstrator. Records are there. The number of people that would demonstrate solely, individually, today, that cannot happen. Before you do that, cadres will rough you up or the police will rough you up. So for me, I think we need people who understand what it means when we talk about the rule of law, to say no one is above the law. When we talk about everyone being answerable to the law, and that the law must be applied fairly, squarely to every citizen, that is the kind of president we need. That is what should happen when we proceed in these coming elections. I have a problem and an appeal to the legal fraternity.
Okay,
what is going on today in the country? In other nations, you will see lawyers teaming up. You would have maybe 40 law firms taking on their friend, the Chief Justice, for the injustices that are going on in the country. But I don't see that happening. But I see a situation where the profession that is suffering today is the law profession. Why? Because now, law is being rendered useless. It's like, even in going to hire a lawyer, it's like a sheer waste of time. You understand? Because like the cases are predetermined. That is a danger for a country which is a democratic constitution. You understand? You cannot have a situation where going to court should be determined by a political party that you are coming from. These cases that are in court for Patriotic Front, UPND cadres were telling us that the matters would take long until 2026. How did the cadres know that any matter to do with PF that is in court would take a long time until 2026? We had a situation where our sister was being, we were waiting for the judgment. Before the judgment, my comrade from the UPND posted something to say, PF has lost a seat. Okay? How did that individual, a UPND cadre, have access to the judiciary and the records before the courts that the woman was going to be convicted? These are issues that are making this country be seen to be a joke. The matters that are going on in this country are of concern. They speak to the larger part of the country. We are losing our credibility, our dignity, and that must not be tolerated by the state. This government is exercising the powers leased to them by the state. The state must ensure that the country is respected globally by the decision made locally by those that are entrusted with the political power. But when you have a situation where the political power is in the hands of people who don't give a hell about this country, we have a bad situation ahead of us. Because the credibility we are losing in this country speaks to the fact that any other country that wants to associate with us, they have to say, that country where the rule of law is not respected, I think it's not even worth going. So we are on a wait and see situation as a country that must not be tolerated.
Thank you very much. I think we are coming to the end of this podcast today. So before we wrap up, what can you tell the Zambian people?
Well, it is clear and it is true that the UPND wants to get a lot of seats so that the constitutional amendment can go through when they manage to get a two-thirds majority in parliament. The opposition must do everything necessary to ensure that when they declare a vacancy on any seat, they go flat out. If the resources are needed, they should sell the properties they have to put resources together and be able to win. On the other side, I also urge the opposition to make sure that they identify individuals that are going to vie for the seats across the 156 constituencies in the country to be able to begin to go and begin to do what is necessary, because we can still have another way of beating UPND if majority or the two-thirds of the people that are going to be in parliament are coming from the opposition. That is what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. From me, Sheba Msunga, and Mr. Prince Chanda, the hardliner, we are saying have a blessed evening. Catch us live at 20 hours on various media platforms. And if you've got questions or contributions, please feel free to leave them in your comment section. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a good night.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Alright, that's all for you today, lovely viewers. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video you just watched in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you, lovely viewers. Once again, I go by the name of Mutati Mpundu. I love you, peace, I gotta go.